Then from 2014 on, we start to see walkways, helipads, and small docks with deeper harbours cut into the reefs. Those are the darker areas you see here.
So all of that stuff was clearly meant to improve the resiliency of Vietnam's bases in the face of this massive Chinese buildup and this new level of coercion we saw under Xi Jinping. And then you've moved into a new phase of island building for Vietnam, which started probably about the end of 2021, but has accelerated over the last 18 months. And that's been the expansion of islands overall, where they've begun to mimic many of the tactics we saw from China, including using the same kind of dredgers.
This is Bark Canada Reef. Vietnam occupied it in 1987, and for years only had a small outpost. This is what it looks like now.
Bark Canada Reef went from being basically 0 acres of land to now the fourth largest island in the Spratlys, behind only China's Big Three. If Vietnam wants to protect what it has and protect its rights in its own waters, it needs to be able to patrol those waters in similar numbers to China. And it can't do that if Chinese boats only have to go 10 miles and the Vietnamese boats have to go 300 miles. That's just not math that'll ever work out.
For China, it's all about the math, and there's no doubt who's winning the numbers game.
Over the course of the last 40 years, China went from having a virtually no navy, no coast guard, and almost no fishing industry, to having the world's second largest navy, largest by number of ships, second by tonnage to the US. By far the world's largest coast guard, the world's largest shipping industry, the world's largest fishing industry, the world's largest marine science industry, right? On and on and on. And a unique component of this has become China's maritime militia.
The militia are fishing boats either fully operated or contracted by the Chinese government. Their job is to disrupt and block boats from other competing nations in the South China Sea, or simply sit idle, maintaining a highly visible Chinese presence.
To see this new thing emerge in the South China Sea where Filipino and Vietnamese patrols would go out and they'd find hundreds of Chinese boats sitting at anchor, tied up to each other, often uncrewed or crewed by a skeleton crew just sitting around playing cards and watching their phones and not doing anything.
These are the movements of Chinese vessels identified by Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative as militia vessels on the same month from 2021 to 2024. With all the heightened tension above the water, an ecological disaster has been unfolding beneath the waves. To build these islands, engineers started by using clamshell dredgers, scooping sand and coral into barges and then dumping it in a pile to create islands. Nowadays, the likes of China and Vietnam are using methods that are even more destructive: suction dredging.
The drill bit grinds up everything indiscriminately. Rock, coral, marine life, sand, and then it shoots this, organic slurry out the other end. That's what China built its islands using. And that's why it didn't just kill the reef that was covered in sand, it killed all the reef nearby too. It dug up all the coral to make that sand, and then it put huge plumes of sediment into the water that drifted around and smothered anything that had managed to escape the initial digging.
As the islands and the rival navies expand, so does the chance that skirmishes turn to battles. The US has a mutual defense treaty with the Philippines and has promised to come to the aid of its old ally in the event of an attack on its military or its Coast Guard. Recent meetings between Joe Biden and his Philippine counterpart Ferdinand Marcos Jr. serve as a warning shot to China, specifically with regard to the South China Sea.
It's a numbers game. You hit people with enough water cannons, you ram their boats, eventually you are going to kill somebody.
But what Greg Poling and the Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative have noticed is not that the tides have turned, but that there seems to be a greater willingness to stand up to China.
The Philippines has begun to re-patrol around Scarborough Shoal for the first time since China took it from them in 2012, and it's been not only resupplying, but building up, shoring up the Sierra Madre, despite the Chinese blockades. China has, at least so far, been unwilling to use overt military force. And I think the Southeast Asians have realized that China can't have it both ways. If they just drive straight, if they ignore all the harassment, if they're firm and committed to this, they've been able to develop new resources, resupply their people, patrol where they want, and all China's behavior has done, really, is internationalize the disputes and create exactly the kind of anti-China coalition that Beijing has always feared more than anything else.
Your actions have threatened China's sovereignty, security, and related rights and interests. To avoid miscalculation, leave and keep far off immediately. Over.
We are proceeding according to our plan route. Request to stay clear from our passage in accordance with the collision regulation. Over.
Oh man.
All right. Well, it's happened. To any of you that have listened on this channel for the last handful of years, or even the last handful of months, you're about to be very rich. This is exciting. Donald Trump just made a massive announcement. I expected this announcement to actually happen in a couple of days, but he decided to do it the day before a lot of people in our country get paid, which sort of sucks because a lot of people are trying to buy more crypto. But strategic reserve, crypto strategic reserve just announced. A lot of people wondering why XRP, Solana, and ADA are exploding in price. It's because this is the official post on X. And if you don't follow me on X, links down below. Please follow me there. There's so much going on. A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and ADA. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. Look at how many of you right now own. Type it down below, XRP, Solana, or ADA. Type it down below. You are about to get very rich. Now, I didn't put this out right away because I've been busy. I just doubled the position that I own because in the next, I think, handful of days, money is about to slosh from XRP into this other coin. You watch it, it'll happen. And I'm going to announce that in a second. And then also I'm going to do this. A couple things are happening. If you haven't bought the pre-filming discount for the AI course that we're doing right now, you're going to want to do that because it's going to teach you things like how to build a business, but also really neat ways to use AI agents and how to build prompts to go and find the next big thing in crypto. And what I believe is something that I've owned for a long, long time in cryptocurrency is about to explode in the next handful of weeks or month. I'm going to be announcing that on the DeFi Pro course. I'm going to put a link to the sale. We'll open up the sale again because I'm starting once a month group coaching calls to bring you through a lot of things that you don't understand or what